Tokyo revealed itself in all its magnificent vastness, a mosaic of lights, colours, and life. Skyscrapers brushing the sky, neon signs flashing in kanji and katakana, people of all ages moving with purpose, each absorbed in their thoughts or conversations. Ari was captivated by the crowded streets flashing by, the small shops packed tightly next to each other, and the quiet parks that, surprisingly, found space among the urban intensity. The train journey offered her a first true taste of Tokyo's duality, a city where ancient and modern coexist in a complex, fascinating harmony. Though the trip from the airport to the train station did not allow her to explore deeply, it was enough to ignite an even deeper curiosity for all she would discover in the days to come. Arriving at the station, Ari anxiously scanned the crowd for Yumi and her grandmother Shizuka's faces. She had imagined this moment so many times, but now that she was here, the accelerated beat of her heart seemed the only distinct sound amid the station's chaos. Every minute of waiting stretched, turning into an eternity, and anxiety began to snake through her chest insistently. What if they didn't come? What if it was all a terrible misunderstanding? The idea that her dream vacation could turn into a nightmare struck her with a devastating force, leaving her trembling at the thought of being alone in a foreign country. Fumiko, by her side, seemed to sense Ari's growing turmoil and sought to offer comfort. Stations can be chaotic places, and delays are sometimes inevitable, she said, with a calm voice that tried to instill tranquility. I'm sure Yumi and her grandmother will be here any moment now. Just when Ari's anxiety was reaching its peak, two figures emerged from the crowd, almost like a vision. Yumi with her unmistakable warm smile, and grandmother Shizuka, whose presence exuded a sense of benevolent authority. Benevolent just means nice and kind and caring. As soon as Ari saw Yumi and her grandmother, a surge of relief mixed with happiness washed over her. However, as the initial wave of anxiety subsided, a new sense of shyness delicately crept into her soul. She was thrilled to finally be face to face with Yumi and her grandmother. But at the same time, a veil of uncertainty enveloped her. She feared making a mistake, saying or doing something that might seem inappropriate, not living up to expectations, or worse, not being able to establish the deep connection she had imagined with her pen pal. Despite the reassuring words of welcome and affectionate smiles, Ari couldn't help but feel slightly uneasy, as if she were under scrutiny. The connection she had built with Yumi through their letters, rich in intimacy and mutual... Let me get the next page, Jessica. And mutual understanding now seemed in real presence, accompanied by a subtle tension. Ari ardently wished that the same rapport would translate outside the written pages, turning into an equally profound and meaningful relationship in real life. Rapport is kind of like the way you get on, the relationship, the way you interact. When it came to say goodbye to Fumiko, Ari felt a mix of gratitude and melancholy. Thank you so much for everything, Fumiko-san. Your company made this journey less daunting, she said, warmly shaking her hand. Fumiko, with a smile that revealed pride and affection, reminded her that they would meet again at the end of Ari's stay, to make the return journey together. It will be a pleasure to meet you again and hear all about your adventures, Ari. Until then, enjoy every moment of your stay here. With one last exchange of smiles and farewells, Fumiko walked away, leaving Ari in the company of Yumi and her grandmother, ready to embark on their journey to Shirakawa-go. As the high-speed train whisked them away from Tokyo's metropolis, Ari found herself immersed in a completely new world. Beside her, Yumi watched, amusedly at her astonishment. The landscape outside the window transformed rapidly. Skyscrapers and neon signs gave way to serene, majestic nature. Rice fields, like tiles of a vast green mosaic, stretched to the horizon, interspersed with small villages that seemed to belong to another era. Interspersed just means it kind of pops up every now and again. "Look, Ari-chan," exclaimed Yumi, pointing towards a mountain range in the distance. Ari leaned forward to see better, her eyes sparkling with wonder. "Those are the Japanese Alps," Yumi explained, with a hint of pride in her voice. The profile of the mountains, imposing and tranquil, framed the sky with a majesty Ari had only seen in books. The journey continued in a mix of hesitant conversations and contemplative silences. Every so often, a shy smile or a shared glance broke the ice between the two girls, slowly building a bridge over the language barrier. Yumi, with gestures and words, sought to convey to Ari the history and hidden secrets behind the swiftly passing landscape outside the window. When the train reached Toyama Station, the chapter of the train journey closed, making way for the next stage, the bus ride to Shirakawa-go. The transition to a new mode of transportation brought with it a change of scenery. The bus wound its way through valleys and along rivers, offering Ari even more intimate views of the Japanese countryside. The expanses of rice fields were now within reach, as were the small family gardens that dotted the landscape. Oh, let's have a look at that picture, shall we? Wow, that looks like a really old village with incredible thatched roofs. I'm just scratching my face, Jessica. Just bear with me a second, and then I'll focus. There you are. There are a few villages like that left in Japan. Let's read, shall we? In that stretch of the journey, Ari and Yumi found themselves closer both physically and emotionally. Ari's initial shyness in speaking Japanese clashed with her eagerness to express herself, to ask questions, to share her joy and astonishment at everything she saw. Yumi, patient and encouraging, helped Ari find the right words, laughing together when a wrong expression led to amusing misunderstandings. "It's so beautiful here," Ari said, searching for the words in her mental vocabulary. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Yumi nodded enthusiastically. "And wait until you see Shirakawa-go." When the bus finally wound its way through the last curves before Shirakawa-go, the sun began to tint with crimson hues, heralding the arrival of sunset. The village unfolded before their eyes in a golden light that seemed to wrap everything in a magical aura. Ari was breathless, completely captivated by the beauty unfolding before her. Shirakawa-go, under the veil of sunset, appeared like a scene from an ancient tale, with its traditional houses called Gasho Zukuri, emerging from the landscape as monuments of a forgotten time. The steeply pitched roofs of the houses, majestic and imposing, shone under the slanted rays of the sun, casting long, soft shadows that danced on the ground. What a beautiful way the author has of describing reality. There it is. I'll read that bit again, that's lovely. The steeply pitched roofs of the houses, majestic and imposing, shone under the slanted rays of the sun, casting long, soft shadows that danced on the ground. How nice. You see some little fields amongst the houses. I'll show you a proper picture of that on your next round. The river, actually, Jessica, let's leave it there, and because that's a 10-minute section, and then I'll record another one and upload, just because it's easier to do like that. That's page 22, and we ended with the shadows dancing around on the ground. Up, yeah.